Apologies for being late. Hope everybody's doing okay. Take a look who's here. Yeah, I had a bit of a busy morning, so I'm trying to get my shit together. Got a new watch to show off? Thomas.
Hi there, Zippo. How you doing?
How are you, man?
You got a new watch to show off?
G-Shock.
Oh, nice. Summer watch.
Yeah. Something I can beat the hell out of. And hopefully it lasts. But if it doesn't, is what it is. So, how have you been keeping?
Yeah, not bad, thanks. How are you keeping? It's lovely sunny weather over here. How about over there?
Well, we had an absolutely insane hailstorm last night. And in this...
Oh, no.
Yeah, this small town that I'm in. Like, I'm in the southwest, the northwest part of this town. Like, there's, cars with their windshields smashed, houses with the siding, like, ripped to shreds. It's brutal. Yeah, Orange Hand. It was crazy, man.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm lucky none of my vehicles got wrecked. And it's just, it's pure luck. It's a pure fluke that where it hits. It's really crazy. I don't know if you ever get crazy hailstorms there, but
yeah, we had a hailstorm not long back. Yeah. It's only a small one, but not a big one.
Yeah. Like we get, almost the size of golf balls. Some of the hailstorms we get. Yeah. So, yeah, shoot. And it's something to keep him quiet by the looks of it.
Yeah, he's busy
hey
getting ready. Hi, Ness, as well.
Hey, can you guys hear me well?
Yep, we sure can.
Yeah, we're doing well. How's yourself?
Good. Yeah,
good.
It's been a busy week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Playing catch up.
Yeah, a little bit.
Just like to say hi to all the chat so far. Who we got there? We got Howdy from Texas, Megan Arthur, Jacinta Arthur, Orange Hand, Williams Watches, WI Watch Guy, Chip Gage, Junie Johnson. They're all here.
Yeah.
All ready and waiting. Good to see you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm going to keep spamming the chat till we got a full house.
So it's been was a interesting week in watches.
Yeah, there are a few new releases. Well, new releases announced, not released, but announced, weren't there, NS?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Kind of interesting, very low key. Not a lot of fanfare, but there were a few things released from Grand Seiko and Breguet and even Bell and Ross, Omega. So
Bell and Ross, Omega, yeah.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Hello, Blue Shirt.
How are you doing, Blue Shirt? You well, my friend?
I am. How are you guys doing? Sorry I'm late.
No worries, not at all. Not at all.
Williams
it's a casual one on Sunday, so I don't have to worry about punctuality.
Hey, everybody. Orange Hand, Williams Watches, Wisconsin Watch Guy, Megan. Hello, everybody. Howdy from Texas. How are you, my friend? Good to see you. Junior Johnson, always good to see you. Chip Gage.
We got all the good ones.
Yep.
all the regular good guys, yeah.
So I haven't heard anything about the Grand Seikos yet. I just haven't been paying enough attention, obviously.
Yeah, they did a few releases. Nothing major, I would say. It's mostly new schemes on old watches, but they did introduce those interesting GMTs this week. So that was
Yeah,
nice.
they're really interesting, weren't they?
And I think I thought I saw 2 U.S. only versions of the Snowflake that they released.
That's right. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. We'll come around to those. Yeah, the Soko editions.
Yeah. It's interesting because they're not really snowflakes anymore, right? Because they don't have the snowflake dial, but
Right.
they do have a very nice texture. It's more subtle as a dial, but very nice.
Yeah, it's like a linen dial sort of effect.
Sort of, kinda, and $5,000. So that's
Yeah.
not bad.
Really?
Yeah, 5,000 US. Yep.
Yeah, good deal.
Is that
39 mil,
drive?
right? That's spring drive.
Wow.
Yeah, you get a spring drive for $5,000, and it's 39 mil watch. It's very good. We'll see that later on. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Great.
think it's 12 and a half thick, so it's not thick either.
And somebody asking, Revolution magazine. Does anybody else get that? We're just going online.
I mean, I get newsletter blurbs from them. I don't subscribe, but they've got some cool stuff.
Yeah, they do videos as well. Do some quite good videos, don't
They
they,
do.
online?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's when you can get your magazines from the dealers and whatnot, but an actual tactile magazine, something that's not online, would be interesting.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't mind getting that myself. Logan Hall.
Hey, Logan Hall. How are you,
Hi,
pal?
Logan.
Geezer, hope you're well.
Geezer, what's up, buddy? Orange Hand. Hey, everybody.
Geezer, I saw a bike the other day and it made me think of you. It's a Triumph Thruxton 900 British Racing Green. Beautiful weather, just a beautiful bike. It was amazing. Oh God, it was amazing.
Were you tempted?
Well, it was a guy was riding it, and I actually we were kind of opposite each other at in a parking lot, and I actually went and talked to him. Told him I and that's usually not something I would do.
You gave him the nod.
Oh yeah, for sure. Sorry, just a second here. The hailstorm might have done some damage to some of our equipment that's down the road from here, so I got to go check that out later.
Oh, you're joking.
Yeah.
Oh, that stinks.
Yeah.
Got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. Sorry, just got to let a guy know.
Yep. No worries, man. So how you doing, Thomas? All good across the pond?
I'm doing fine. Yeah, I was just saying it's lovely weather here at the moment. We had a bit of rain last week, but it's really warmed up. Really nice.
Yeah, we had
just been for a walk, and it's been gorgeous.
Yeah, that's where I was. We've had 2 really gorgeous days in a row here. Just perfect weather.
Nice.
So just trying to take advantage of it.
Yeah, Megan Arthur, that would be much appreciated. That's very cool. I'd be into that. So I'll jump into the private chats here and we'll take a look.
Yeah, first up, we got the Omega, the new central tourbillon. I'm sure Annette will be able to tell you a lot more about it than I can.
Yeah, it's actually a very nice release. I mean, I think everybody's familiar with the older models that had the Omega logo basically in the center as the tourbillon.
I really like that one.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah, it is. I think a lot of people liked it, but it was maybe a dated design at this point. And the new version, what's really cool about it is, first off, it's a master chronometer.
Right.
So it's not just a tourbillon.
It's certified. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really certified, and it looks a little bit classier.
Yes.
By today's standards.
I was just going to say cleaner and classier.
Yeah, and I think it also really has the aesthetic of the modern Omega dress watch, right?
Agreed.
It looks like they're modern models.
Yep.
And if you look at the back, it's a beautiful movement, well finished. The power reserve is in the back, really nice. Yeah, and it's just a really cool watch, I think. So
Yeah,
Yes,
I mean, when Omega puts their mind to it, they can really do some spectacular things.
yep.
Instead of just churning out endless editions of Speedmasters and Seamasters.
Yeah.
yes.
Look, yeah, I
Not
think
that
it's
there's anything wrong with Speedmasters or Seamasters.
no, definitely. I think it's a great reminder, though, that Omega also has, master watchmakers and
So some chops in the industry.
yep.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I was reading Omega have been making tourbillons since the 40s, and some of the very first generation of tourbillon watches made at the time when it wasn't, I wouldn't say really the fashion, but wasn't really a requirement to exhibit the mechanism because they weren't being sold to people, because they're actually being made to enter into observatory competitions, weren't they?
Yeah. And what I like about this watch is that it's not if there's such a thing as a subtle tourbillon, this is it. It's not hidden behind the movement. It's on the front, but it's not like smacking you in the face. It's as subtle as a dial tourbillon can be, if you guys know what I mean.
Yeah, I think the black background helps a lot, right? So you see the tourbillon, you see the hairspring, but the bridge on top is blackened, and it's not like a very weird, gaudy, open work type of thing, right? It's
Right.
classy from far. You wouldn't necessarily see that it's a tourbillon. It's a really nice, classy watch.
Yeah,
And
I
I
mean,
love. I'm sorry, Thomas. Go ahead. I was just
I
going to
was
say
just-
I love the power reserve on the back. I love that feature.
Yeah, I was just going to say that Omega started making the central tourbillons in 1994, didn't they, with the DeVille range? And this one's a great one because it's, apart from being a master chronometer certified, it's capable of resisting the magnetic fields of up to 15,000 Gauss. So it's up to the limits of all modern day Omegas, which is great. I mean,
Yeah.
to have a tourbillon that can survive the magnetic field is amazing.
And Megan is asking about the price, and well, it is $168,000 watch, but still,
A mere bag
Yeah.
of shekels.
yes.
Yeah,
The- yep.
they say it's not it's a numbered production, but not limited. So it's $168,000, as something said. Yeah.
Mhm.
Right, 43 millimeters. So it's a big watch.
Is that their highest price ever?
No, I wouldn't say so. Well, I don't know, to be honest with you, but
I think this is really getting top of the range for Omega. I don't know if they have like
Definitely.
some jeweled versions, but usually their tourbillon is kind of top of the range. I'm sure they have like some weird special editions that are very expensive.
Right.
But this is usually, I don't want to say their flagship, but their big model.
So again, they're playing the cute game. Numbered production, but not limited edition.
yeah, yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
I think that's their way of saying they build as many as they can sell every
Right.
year.
Right.
And
You're right, NS. Yeah, that's exactly what it means.
yeah, and
Yeah.
and I think Tim also once said that division really doesn't make that many watches a year. I don't remember what the number is, but it's in the hundreds for sure.
Right.
I mean, it's a hand wound movement with this Omega 2640 caliber in, and with the 1 minute tourbillon in it, and the coaxial escapement. And as you say, Blue Shirt, it's got the 3-day power reserve on the back. So it's a 3-day power reserve, which is quite substantial
It is.
for the watch. It's
Yeah. And to answer Megan, look, I think this watch it's a kind of because we can watch, right? Because we can make it.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think it's at that price. It's
Yeah, Megan, I agree with you. I mean, I like this watch, but at that price, I would buy a Moser or
Yeah.
or a Longa or something else
Mm.
like that.
Yeah,
I mean,
look, it is double the price of Moser Tourbillon or like MB&F, those new ones that came out, right? So it's very expensive, even after the probably 25+% you're going to get on this. But I think this is more of a exercise in making a press release rather than making a
yeah,
mass market
true.
watch.
True. When they started making them in '94 with the DeVille range, it was one of the mega statements after the quartz crisis to basically say we're back on the map,
Right.
and actually start re-establish themselves as a major player, but say we're back here and we're a force.
Hey, Boozer, thanks for dropping by.
So I think the next few releases that I put in the private chat are the Grand Seiko stuff that came out this week.
Right.
Yeah, so there's the SBGJ 237 and SBGJ 239, which are the GMT function watches.
Right.
I really like these. I love the blue one on the left.
Yeah.
I think that looks great. I think it could be a real contender, and you put them on the map a bit more, and when it comes to appealing to Rolex buyers and the like,
Right. Right. Well, and plus these are high beat movements, so
Yes.
so that's it's definitely different.
Yeah, you're talking 36,000 vibrations per hour, aren't you?
Right.
With the
So
IB?
you're like in the El Primero territory.
Yeah, it's the Grand Seiko 9S 86 high beat movement on these with a 55-hour power reserve. And
Yep. And another release that is not crazy expensive. You know how everybody was kind of criticizing Grand Seiko for trying to really go up market and position them at very high prices. These things, the 237 is going to be priced at 6,800, 6,800, and the 239 is 6,600.
Yeah,
so
that's not bad.
You get a metal bracelet for $200,
Yep.
which is a great buy.
Always get the bracelet. Always get the bracelet.
But the 239 has the green dial. It's got a slightly different dial, hasn't it? It's got green texture to it.
Yes, Wisconsin watch guy. It is 44 millimeters and 14 millimeters thick, so it is quite a big watch. It is 200-meter water resistant.
Right.
Hi there, Bud. Just say hello to Bud the Stud. Join in.
Hey, Bud. How are you? Good to see you, pal.
Hey, Bud.
Yeah, and this, of course, does 3 time zones because it's got the GMT function hand, and then it's got the rotating bezel that you can. It's got on the rotating bezel. It's also got the hours on the inner ring and the rehawk. So that's an extra added bonus.
Yep. Look, it's not perfect, right? It's a big watch, but
44 mil, 44.2 mil, and 14.4 thick. So it's quite a big watch, as you say.
But at that price point, right, you are getting a Grand Seiko, and you're getting a complication if you're into that GMT style complication. So it's an interesting watch, an interesting release.
It has some flavor to it. It's not bland vanilla like, at least to me, a lot of Grand Seikos are. This watch has a little personality to it.
Yeah, that's exactly. That's a great point. They make the very fine, nice dress watches, but it's a little more fun.
Yep.
I know a lot of people hate it. I don't mind having the date at 4 o'clock.
Yep. No,
keep-
it's a nice placement for watches. I personally like dates at 4 o'clock.
I do. Yeah, I agree.
Mhm.
And I,
Crown at 4 though.
yep, and the crown at 4 o'clock too.
Mhm.
Yeah, I like it there. And the red GMT hand is a nice touch.
It's got more of a conventional look than a lot of other Grand Seikos, I think. It's got something. It's got that sort of case that the Godzilla has, and, but it's putting that a more of a sort of Rolex-looking bezel on it.
Mhm.
Yes.
I think it'll appeal to a lot more of the Rolex sort of heads that are out there.
Orange Hand brings up an interesting point, though. He doesn't like where they split the color on the GMT bezel, and that is a peculiar place to split it. I'll be honest, I had not really noticed that.
I hadn't either. Just
Yeah.
below.
Yeah, I hadn't noticed that either. That's sort of kind of cheating. That's an easier way of doing it.
It is.
Well, I think it's because of the color scheme, though, right? Where it's white and the color, as opposed to having like a Rolex where you have a color for the numerals and then two colors.
Right.
So it would have been weird, right? You would have had to have the 1 and the 8, two different colors, and it wouldn't have worked for the 6. So no, that's actually a very good point.
Yeah, that's one of those things that you don't see it, but then when you do see it, you can never not see it again.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And the Troop Gauge is actually wearing his Godzilla today, so he's
nice, man! Congrats.
Nice, very nice watch.
Got that in common with this watch.
And and then the next one that Grand Seiko came out with, the
Soko US Special Editions.
Yeah, there's that one and the other one, but we can start with whichever one Flippin wants to bring up.
Whichever one was next in line.
The next one was the Paris Vendôme limited edition.
Mm-hmm.
That's a nice dress watch. It's a nice looking dress watch.
It's a nice dress watch with a nice dial.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people give Grand Seiko a hard time about the thickness of their dress watches. This one comes in at 11.6 millimeters.
Okay. So you can't complain about that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it's got kind of a nice symmetry with it. You get the sub-second, the small seconds at 9, and the power reserve at the 3.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh yeah, I originally saw this styling on the 005, which with the blue dial. Yeah, really, really balanced out, symmetrical styling. I think with the power reserve balanced out against the sub-seconds. Really nice.
Yeah, it's a nice change for Grand Seiko that usually, and this is just my opinion, I know a lot of people like it, but they have this tendency to break up a nice dial with their power reserve. I think this one is a lot more subtle.
Agreed. Completely agree. Yep. And again, I hate to say this, but it's sort of kind of they're taking a little bit of risk here, which is nice to see. It does. A lot of Grand Seikos look the same, and this doesn't.
Yeah. The one drawback, though, as much as I like this watch, is the platinum edition is 38,000 euros, and the gold version is 28,000 euros.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, it's expensive watches.
Yep.
Lovely dial texture, though. I mean, that pattern on the dial.
Manual wind, 72-hour power reserve, limited to 10 pieces each. Okay, so.
Well, again, not to sound like a broken record, but that's probably how many
they'll sell. Yep.
Yeah, they'll be able to sell. So.
Yeah.
So. It reminds me a little bit of some of the special edition Vacheron Constantin, you know, they have one, the Harrods version. It has kind of that same, you know, aesthetic with the same dial configuration and a little bit of green.
Yeah, it looks like a lovely concentric pattern, doesn't it? Circular pattern.
This little logo, anybody know what that is? Is that for the, that's not a Grand Seiko logo at all, is it?
Oh, that's a good
The
question.
star. Does that represent any sort of timing certification or?
Interesting. I have no idea.
I'm stumped on that one. Not sure what that is.
That's a lovely watch, though. I really like that kind of styling. As I say, the 005 first caught my eye with the blue and the brown one in rose gold.
Yeah, and just Megan, I totally agree. I think at that price, even if you get a very substantial discount, I think unfortunately, not only are there alternatives, to me there are too many alternatives. Right?
Very good point.
Yeah.
It's you can basically get look, 28 to 38,000 euros is basically the MSRP for a similar dress watch in almost every high-end brand, right? Without a discount, you can get, and you would get a discount in any of these brands, but even without the discount, you can basically get a Vacheron, you can get a Moser, you know, you can get a Patek. This is like really, really a high-end pricing. So, yeah, again, I think 10 pieces is what they can conceivably sell.
So, Neo, what's up, brother? How are you, man?
Hi, Neo.
Hey, Neo.
Orange hand. Hang on one second. Neo, if you want to come on. And anybody else, actually.
Yeah, definitely. Anybody else that wants to come on, please. He said give him 5 minutes. Okay. No worries, pal.
Sounds good, man.
Yep. So the last Grand Seiko release on the list.
So this one's the US special edition, the Soko.
Yep.
Gotcha.
To me, that was the nicest one, the Grand Seiko release this week.
Yeah, I was reading Soko translates as frost descending and marks the end of autumn in the Japanese seasonal calendar, divided into 24 two-week periods, which is known as Seki. And the two watches take inspiration from Kyoto's tranquil Arashiyama bamboo forest at the autumn's end. So this one's, as Blue Shirt mentioned earlier, is $5,000 and available now in the US. It's 39 millimeters, 12.5 millimeters thick, 100 meter water resistant, and 72 hours power reserve on the steel bracelet or crocodile strap.
And you're getting a spring drive, folks. So that's a pretty good deal.
Now these,
the caliber 9R6S 65, spring drive caliber. Sorry, Zippo.
no, I was the power reserve. That I've always liked that space for the power reserve.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't mind
I've often been put off by the power reserve, to be honest with you. I'm put off by the power reserve on the Snowflake, but I quite like the green accent on the grey dial one.
Yeah, so do I. I prefer the gray dial one myself.
Yeah, I think in these models, the power reserve doesn't break up the dial texture as much. But again, I think there's no reason why they couldn't just have that little power reserve hand and just, like, you know, a plus and a minus, something like that tells you the low end and the high end of the power reserve, and not have to have that recessed hole in what is otherwise a really nice dial.
Yeah, true. So it's the SBGA 429, the grey dial one. And the white dial is the SBGA 427.
7, right. But, for a sporty Grand Seiko spring drive, they're nice watches, and for $5,000, that's not a bad deal.
Yep, absolutely.
Oh, take care, bud. You got a dash.
Take it easy, bud.
Take care.
Take care, bud.
Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, I like this grey dial with the green accents. It's nice.
Yeah, agreed, Thomas. It's real nice.
That's an interesting point, Megan. You say the bracelet looks cheap.
Yeah, I think one of the things, Megan, that a lot of people have knocked against Grand Seiko is that their bracelets are a step behind and a level down from other companies' bracelets.
Yeah. Although I get the point, right? This bracelet is definitely not the full finish bracelet that you would get with the more expensive Grand Seikos.
Mhm.
So it is something to think about, right? Because a lot of Grand Seiko fans are always talking about how amazing the finish is on the case and the
Mhm.
bracelet.
Yep.
So if you're not getting that, yeah, it's a good point. And Howdy makes a great point. I think I would agree, Howdy. The bracelets are usually not bad. The clasps do have issues. I think
Yeah,
at the
I've
price
said that
points,
before.
you know.
Cheaper clasps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not lots of times no micro adjust.
Yeah, or like on their diver, a micro adjust that is, super cumbersome and looks like a cheap watch.
Yeah, good point, Howdy.
I must say, I like the green stitching on the leather strap that they had.
Mm-hmm.
Matches up with the
Yeah,
accents on the back.
it's a nice touch.
I didn't even notice that. Good eye.
Aunt G's saying the pins on the bracelet are a bit annoying.
Are they still pin and collar?
I guess they are.
Wow.
Yeah, so pin and collar is annoying unless you have pin and collar where the collar is at the center of the. I have to say, I used to be extremely against pin and collar, and I still am in many ways. But the way that some do, like I think some IWCs are like that, and not the new Moser Streamliner, but the Moser Pioneer is that way, where the collar is in the center link.
Right.
So once you put the collar and you put the bracelet together, the collar can't fall out.
Correct.
And it's just a question of pushing in the pin. So it's actually
Right.
easier than doing screws in a way. But pin and collar, where the collar's on the end, that's a pain.
Yeah. Isn't Paddock still using pin and collar? And a
I have
lot of
no
their
idea.
bracelets.
Howdy, Neil.
Neo, what's up, pal?
Pretty good.
Hi,
How are
Neil.
guys?
You well?
Neo.
Yeah, doing good, thanks.
Did you guys have a chance to talk about the new Presage enamel dials? Hey, howdy.
No, we didn't get to that.
No.
But I can bring them up. I'll post a link.
Awesome.
I can post a link, flipping, but it'll be like after the square watches.
Okay, sounds good.
It's at the end now.
Thank you very much.
Look at these cool people coming to this chat every Sunday.
Yeah, it's a lot of people. It's fun to see
Yeah.
people coming and
Yeah, no.
participating.
I noticed we're at 69 subscribers now, Zippo.
Oh,
Nice.
Good one.
I didn't realize that. I feel I appreciate it.
Got 19 in the chat at the moment.
Very nice. Very nice. I guess we can start to spread the word now, right, fellas?
Yeah, spread the word. Spread the word, guys. Spread the word.
So I've seen these presages about 2 years ago. They released a version. They were like an anniversary edition. They had 3 watches, I think 4. One was like a simple 3-hander. One was a chrono. One was a 3-hander with a power reserve. I remember like those were amazing enamel dials. I had issues with some of the movements when I was looking at them, especially on the chrono. I hated that movement, but the dial itself was, whoa, amazing.
Welcome out, G. How you doing, my friend?
Yeah, they're definitely a lot of value for the money if you want a dress watch that's really not that expensive.
Yeah, $2,000.
Yeah, the Prestige is a great. I mean, Smoke Eater had the Prestige in his collection, like he reviewed this week, didn't he? And
Yep.
great bang for buck, absolutely.
It's 40.6 millimeters across and 14.1 millimeters high. So it's a little thick, but yeah, it's a good size, 40 millimeter, 40 and a half millimeters. It's nice. Beats at 4 hertz, 45-hour power reserve. This particular one is limited to 2,000 pieces.
Yeah, I think like the last time they came out with these dials, again, they were limited editions.
Enamel dials are beautiful, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for enamel dials.
I'm just admiring the consistency between the blues.
Yeah, and I'm sorry guys if I'm being quiet. I'm just
No, it's okay.
a bunch of links.
Yeah, no,
You're
I'm
busy, man.
Just
It's
reading.
fine.
And my apologies. Porcelain dial. Porcelain dial.
Yeah, yeah.
Austin, really? Wow.
Porcelain, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And you know that I think it's the next one I queued up. I'm not sure.
So
Was it?
Sorry, Ernest.
No. Sorry, it was the next one. I haven't
You want
queued
to
up.
move on to the next one? It's the Reggae Marine Alarm.
Mm-hmm.
So, the one below the Grand Seiko Soko Zippo.
Yep.
The
Bless you.
Thanks.
Reggae Marine Alarm musical.
I think that's
Bless you.
that's the release that Thomas has been waiting for. I think that's his next watch right there.
ooh.
Oh, very nice. Good choice, Thomas.
Yeah,
This
has
is
anybody made
gorgeous. I
a
love
video
the one on
on
the
these
left, the
watches?
rose gold one.
On this particular one,
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't seen a video, but I've had a busy week, so I don't know. But I
Is
haven't seen a video. No.
Yeah, I guess I'm just wondering if anybody knows what these things actually sound like now.
No, that's a good point.
Well, they're going for $60,300 for both models. These ones are available now. They're not limited edition again, but limited production.
Mhm.
which is
And-
as many as it can make. You've got an alarm function with second time zone, powers of indicator for the alarm, and indicator for the alarm as well.
And Neo, I
And,
wonder,
Whereas
regarding
most alarm function watches are orientated around being loud, like the Vulcan Cricket, JLC Memovox, the Blancpain Villarreal.
I wonder, Neo, if the reviewers that have had it have actually received one.
The marine alarm is aiming to bring a bit more melodic tone.
You think it's just a case of like the reviewers don't physically have these? So,
I suspect so. Given
Yeah.
everything, right?
the-
Travel restrictions, they might have just gotten pictures so far.
Mm. That's a good point.
yeah, that's kind of why I was asking if anybody happened to hear this one.
Yeah. They do look nice. I know it's weird. I still prefer the older style Breguet Marine
Mhm.
with the lugs as opposed to the kind of integrated
Right.
bracelet. But it is nice. They have nice dials and yeah, they're cool watches.
Very nice.
Yeah, the normal Breguet Marine with the blue dial tends to make me a bit, my stomach turn a bit with these wavy patterns on them.
Mm.
I think the white dial looks a lot more classy.
Yep.
Hey, Chip Gage is asking if we have opinions on the JLC sector world timer versus the new master control geophysic.
I'll leave that one to NS.
Yeah.
Do you
Go with
mean?
that.
Exactly.
I think. Do you mean the geographic versus the old sector dial geographic? I think maybe that's what you mean. And if that's the case, I think they're both very nice. Um, in the end, I think it's really a question of which dial do you like better. Uh, the sector dial is beautiful,
Mm.
in my opinion, but the new one is really, really nice as well.
Yeah.
And it's not like the old sector dial is really outdated as a watch. So I don't think you can go wrong with either. You might be able to get a better dial right now with the sector dial, though. So um, personally, I'm not even
Yeah.
sure which one I'd pick. They're both very nice.
Yeah, I agree. It's horses for courses, really, isn't it? It's two totally separate looking dials with different of eras, and the sector dial is a classic dial, beautiful. But then again, the new one is more cheese-like, isn't it?
Yeah,
Again, it's a beautiful dial, beautiful watch.
yeah. You really can't go wrong. And what I really like about the geographic is you're getting that complication where it's not really a world time. It's like a sort of a GMT / world time where you have a second time zone, but you have a city selector, but you also don't have this really weird all bunch of time zones everywhere that's very hard to read. Where you end up with like a really small dial. You really have a nice little sub dial, a 24-hour indicator, a city selector, and your current time in the large regular dial. So I think it's either one is a really good buy. And oh yeah, the last new release that I had queued up was the new AP Royal Oak Concept Flying Tourbillon. That was
nice.
announced.
Yeah, this is a space age looking thing. This, isn't it?
Yeah,
Wow.
I know Geezer, I think, really likes the AP concepts. So obviously
Does, yeah.
it's an expensive watch, but I figured they released it. We should show it. It's a great way to sort of close the loop on the new releases because it's a very good comparison with the first watch that we looked at, even though it's completely different, right? This is more of a sports watch,
Mhm.
an extreme watch, but it is $194,000, limited to 30 pieces.
Mm.
So the price is kind of comparable to that first Omega we looked at.
Right.
But my guess is a lot of people would argue it's a lot more watch than the Omega. So I think it's a interesting comparison with where we started.
This is for the people who buy the Cybertruck.
Yeah, interesting.
Yep. And Geezer is saying they are ridiculously big. And, yeah, it really is. Somebody wearing that is very close, I guess, to that when you see Jean-Claude Beaver wearing his huge,
Hublot.
yeah, that big black carbon one that he has, or I don't
Yep.
remember if it's carbon or.
Yeah, he goes. I think it is, and he goes everywhere he goes. That's what he's wearing. This just looks like one big, huge chunk of metal on your wrist.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't AP releasing this car along with Tesla's new truck? And you get one of these free.
It looks like something from RoboCop.
First
I don't
thing
know.
thought it was the Cybertruck.
It's
I'm totally joking about that.
yeah. It definitely has a similar aesthetic.
Yeah, that's what Wisconsin Watch Guy was saying.
Yeah, like that is the.
Oh yeah.
That's the
Sorry,
bomb.
Robbie. Hey,
And, you know,
are you feeling better? He was really sick. He had COVID for like 3 weeks.
Oh, really?
Oh man! So hopefully you're feeling better, Wisconsin
Yep.
Watch Guy. Speedy recovery.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
No. Yeah, hopefully, my friend. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, this just looks like something the RoboCop would wear or Predator or something. I mean, it's amazing.
Mhm.
Space age.
Oh, I really love this watch. I like
The
a
angles
work of art.
on it are just
Yeah, I think there's
wow.
to me those are like I'm not a big AP guy, but I think you get a ton of watch and they're great concepts and it's cool, right? There's a lot of engineering that goes into these things. They're really cool watches.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like a tank on your wrist.
Mm.
What's up, GMT Master? Good to see you.
Oh, Thomas, are you still here?
Thomas, you there, my friend? Yeah, his Wi-Fi must have bugged out.
Yeah.
He's got two different spots here. Thomas, I'm going to remove you, both of you, and then give me a second.
Maybe repost the link.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
Hopefully that, okay.
So, Wisconsin Watch Guy had COVID-like symptoms, but not COVID.
Oh.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, but feeling better. Oh man, he's
Really?
getting a Hulk.
Cool.
Oh, he got a Hulk yesterday. Nice, congrats,
Nice.
man. Wear it in good health. Yeah, that'll make you feel better.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
So I think before we go to square and tono and rectangular watches, Thomas had posted a link for Mitchell timepieces.
Oh yeah, that's the one I was looking at.
Oh.
So it's a new micro brand, just starting up, and they have a Zenith Pilot Watch homage. So if you want to pull that one up, flipping, you can take a look at that.
Yeah, I see the Zenith homage on their site. That's interesting.
Yeah. They have a white dial and a black dial. They got the coin edging around the bezel. That's a cool looking watch. Supposedly, it's based on a watch that Jimmy Doolittle, who led the famous raid on Tokyo in 1942. It's based on a watch that he wore. And on the back is inscribed an image of a B-25 inside a compass that is also supposedly what the compass on the inside of the B-25 looked like.
There's some other pictures just below that, as if yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Thomas, you're back.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Just dropped
No
off.
worries, man. No worries.
And I'd
So I
like
thought-
to just shout out to the person in the chat pretending to be producer Michael.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Happy to have you, producer
Yes.
Michael.
Yes.
Send money.
Yes.
I love coin edge bezels. Man.
Yeah, it's kind of a cool, it's kind of a cool look, and they're just starting out. It's under $400, and it caught my, I kind of like watches with some historical nods to it.
I like the darker dial one. that
Yes,
they
so
have.
do I. Yes,
Yeah.
the black dial, a nice size crown, nice legible. It's a cool pilot's watch.
And I guess the white
Yeah, that
one, the entire dial is loomed. I
Correct.
guess? Okay.
Correct. Yeah, the white dial is completely loomed. There you go.
That's great. The black dial one, though, isn't it? That's a lovely
Yeah.
look.
Yeah, and the little star that's on the dial, that is a nod to. He was Jimmy Doolittle was a lieutenant colonel when he led the raid, and afterwards, when he got back, he was promoted to brigadier general. So, and that's a 1-star general. So that's a nod to him, and he was awarded the Medal of Honor.
Yeah, great price as well for that little watch, isn't it?
Yeah.
$379 on the early bird.
Yeah.
Hands are almost identical to the Alpinist. There you go.
Yep.
Mhm. Yeah, it's a traditional cathedral hands.
And the same kind of coin edging on the crown as the bezel, and there's the image of the B-25 in the compass.
You ever seen the movie Memphis Belle?
Yes.
Love
Yes.
that show.
Yeah. Well, if you ever see the movie about the actual mission, it's called 30 Seconds Over Tokyo. It was made it was made during World War II, a couple years after the raid, and Spencer Tracy played Jimmy Doolittle. It's a great movie.
Yeah, I'll check that out.
Yeah, and it's a great book too. So, but just a cool little homage piece.
Angie's
caught
saying
my
our
eye.
thoughts on cathedral hands. What do we think of those?
I like cathedral hands.
Yeah, they're not my favourite style of hands, but I do like them. I can get along with them.
I think on the right watch, they look good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, agreed.
They look great.
Yeah, and they hold a lot of lume, so that's also positive.
Oh, Chip Gage picked up a Batman. Congrats, man.
Nice.
Oh,
Nice.
congratulations, my friend. Nice.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
Everybody's picking up a lot of watches.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the shops are opening back up, aren't they? So,
Mhm.
Yeah. The taps are flowing, huh, guys? So
Yeah.
now's the time to.
hopefully so, yeah.
I think on David SW right now, there's a Batgirl cheaper than a Batman.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow, that's surprising.
like at 13 level, it's like 13 something. And I think, and there is a Batman at like that price, but I think there's other Batmans that are more like 16.
Yeah, the oyster bracelet's always been very popular, hasn't it?
Now, NS, I wanted to ask you something. You had mentioned the other day on Bill Sanders' stream that something was tempting you. Have you taken your eye off of the prize? I know you were shooting for maybe end of the year the Duometra, but Is something else piquing your curiosity?
Yeah, there's a couple of watches that I'm looking at, but I think I'll be able to resist the temptation. But
That
there's a couple of
Duometra
things.
is worth keeping your eye on the prize for.
Yeah, I got really weak about it yesterday and the day before yesterday, but I think this morning I came back to my senses. So, but there was a period of time in the last 48 hours where, one, I stopped myself like 5 times from making an offer on eBay,
Mm-hmm.
and for the other watch, I started asking about dial possibilities, and then I had to stop because it was getting too serious. So
Yeah. So there was another couple of releases, weren't there? Briefly, I mean, just to mention in passing, there's the Bell and Ross BRL5 Skeleton Blue Dial, which was an open work version. It wasn't fully skeletonized like the one they've done before, but they just did an open work dial, which was interesting.
Yep.
And then there was the Breguet Marine Haute Jewelry Poseidonia. I don't know, I probably butchered that name. But that was a jewelry encrusted mother of pearl dial Breguet Marine. Which was amazing, which was, forget the price right, that was 270,000 Swiss francs for the diamond and emerald versions, or 250 Swiss francs for the ruby and sapphire versions. Absolutely stunning works of art, but you can maybe check those out, guys, if you want to.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Producer Michael, there's not too much Jacob and Co. Talk here, so.
No, sorry, Michael.
Yeah, we also don't talk about 1980s Pontiac Fiero Ferrari pit cars.
And the multicolored shirts and brogues.
Yes.
Somebody showed a picture of a bunch. They had a bunch of. It might have been Reddit. Those 5 time zone things, and even just the way they ship them out, they look like a bunch of fossil watches.
Well, I mean, I think there's a lot of truth to what you're saying, especially some of the lower end, older models that they had. That's pretty close to what they were, really. So, do we want to talk about oddly shaped watches?
Yeah, let's do it now.
Sure.
Take it away.
Yeah. So the first one that I queued up. So I don't know. I don't exactly remember where we left off last time, and I sort of had to redo the list. I'm pretty sure so far I haven't queued up any that we talked about before.
Yeah, no worries.
If we did, just let me know. But the first one that I thought we could talk about is the Langenhain George.
Great.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing it well, so I'm very sorry if there are any native German speakers here. But
you're going to pronounce it better than any of us could, so don't worry about it.
Is it Georg?
Yeah. And so this watch is really interesting because for a few reasons, right? You can have really nice hands on it. The dials are nice. It's a really German looking watch. But the movement is where it really shines. And Bill Sanders has talked about that movement quite a few times, where it's so open, you see everything in the movement. But what's really interesting is that, it's really breathtaking, really. But what's really, really cool is that movement is at the same time incredibly German looking, but also not German at all, right? It's got the frosting, it's got the spiraling on the barrel. It has, every single thing that would make it look German, but it's not covered by a 3/4 plate or, 1/3, 2/3 plate. So it's, it looks super German while being very modern. in the way they have all these tiny little bridges to show you the entire movement is really
Yeah.
cool.
It's like evacuated. Just for it's amazing. And I don't think I've ever seen a watch with a movement like that. It's cool.
Yeah, it's really up there with for watches where you see as much of the movement as possible. They also have a newer tourbillon version, but it's I figured we'd mostly look at this one. Nice dials, nice hands, really well made. Yeah, very very nice looking watch.
That's a lovely dial, that black one. That's really nice. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I love the strap as well, the way the strap is attached, like the Cartier Metrique, and quite a few other watches, like the Hermes ones as well.
Yeah, it's a style that most of their watches have. I think probably all of their watches have that same dial configuration. It adds something to the watch for sure.
Yeah, Geezer's got a good point. I agree with you. I'm not a big fan of triple lugs either. But other than that, this is a very interesting looking watch.
Yeah, the big downside, as much as it looks original, the biggest downside is finding straps, right?
Right.
And I think even Bill Sanders, when he talked about his Langenhain, there was one thing that was sort of a drawback, right? Finding a custom strap for it.
Right.
How is that assembled differently? Like, I would assume that they leave a little extra room in the center lug, to swing a spring bar around in there a little bit.
Well, this would be with a screw, though.
It's
not going to be a spring bar, so it's screwed in. So it's easy to put in and remove. It's probably easier than a spring bar. The issue, though, is you need to have your strap with a notch in the middle.
Yeah.
And I know some people don't like the screws because you have to hold it from both sides.
Correct.
But for somebody who doesn't like that, the Bergeon makes a press for for pin and collar. We were talking about pin and collar before. Well, their press for pin and collar, actually on the bottom and the top, you can change the pin press for screw heads.
And it'll hold it in place.
Yeah, so you put it down,
side.
And then because it's like a press, you can make the screw come in at a perfect 90-degree angle, and then just unscrew it very easily. So
oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So that's a cool one. And then the next one that I queued up is a very similar watch, also German, also a fitted movement, but from Moritz Grossmann, and that's the Cornerstone. Sorry. Now, out of the two, even though I like the Langenhain movement more, the Moritz Grossmann, I probably like the dials more and the hands, especially this configuration with the heat purpled hands. That's just beautiful.
Ooh, very nice.
Yeah,
really
beautiful.
nice.
Moritz, when I saw them at Watch Time in New York, I was really impressed with their watches. Lovely, lovely dress pieces. Very well executed.
Yeah, and the movement that they made specifically for this watch is very, very nice looking and very, very traditionally German, right? With the balance cock that's been engraved, spiraling on the barrel, 3/4 plate, and just made to fit that watch.
Right.
Beautiful, simple movement.
I like the way they had on the dial just the 11, 12, and 1, and then the 7, 6, and 5 on the bottom. The other indices were just batons. That was a really nice, interesting, quirky feature. That was really nice.
And you're right, Ennis, that it's very. This is a German-looking movement for sure.
Yeah, and Moritz Grossman do hands really, really well. So
Yeah.
that's a watch that looks very good from all angles.
It's the only time I've ever seen purple heat treated anything for a watch.
Hey, Shot in the Dark. How are you, man?
Hi, Shot. You all right, my friend?
Hi. So
Hey, man.
yeah, so those were the very, very German. And the next one is also German, but very different. So I tried to do like we did when we talked about independence, right? Try to look at a whole range of watchmakers, some
Yeah.
established companies, guys that are just starting out,
Mhm.
different price points. And the next one is very interesting because here's a watchmaker that in the past, his first watch, and he says he's self-taught. His first watch, the Series 1, was a normal circular watch with a highly finished but very industrial design looking 6498. And
Mhm.
this watch, the Series 2, is actually based on a 6498, but with a completely redone shape, right? And obviously, right, the base plate is redone and pretty much everything on the movement is redone, but very, very utilitarian, also very German like finishing. Um, they're not cheap, but I think it's a really interesting watch.
Mm.
So if you scroll down, you'll see the some movement pictures. Um, if somebody's looking for
The
a
dial looks
yep,
really interesting, doesn't it?
Yeah.
yeah, if somebody's looking for a rectangular watch from an independent, somebody who's kind of up and coming, um, and we often talk about the Unitas movements, the 6498, and what
Mhm.
people have been able to do. This is like an example of somebody taking a Unitas movement and, well, basically taking the barrel and the gear train and making something completely different.
Wow.
Yeah, that
Amazing.
is. Yeah, it is. Very interesting.
And Geezer, I will add it to the list, the VNA halter.
Thank you, Ines. All right, Megan Arthur, take care. Thank you for joining us.
Take
Take
care,
care.
Megan. Thanks for coming by.
Yep.
Yeah, Megan. Speak to you soon.
So interesting watch. And the next one after the you'll skip the Presage flipping. The next one, somebody had mentioned it last time, and it was actually part of the list last week. But it's the Vacheron Constantin Royal Eagle.
Mhm.
And these are watches where you used to be able to get very good deals on them. You still can. They were that this was a line that eventually got folded into the Malt line, um, and it was made for younger people. So that
Mhm.
was before the Quai de Lille, I would say, is what became the Quai de Lille.
Mhm.
So cheaper, available in stainless steel. The base version was basically this chronograph with big date that basically has the same movement as the contemporary, the uh, uh, the overseas. That was the contemporary of
Yeah.
this watch. So it is a movement that has a service bill that's not cheap when you have to service it.
Right.
But very nice case, very nice lugs. These used to go for crazy low prices, um, but really, really cool watch. Great complications, and you could actually have it with a calendar complication. Was much more expensive and
Mhm.
much rarer, and it was available in gold as well.
I was going to say, it's got something common with the overseas. It looks just like that with that big Hey, it looks very like the one of Smoky says that overseas that he had.
Yeah,
Generation 2.
it really is the same movement with the same date, the same chronograph movement. So it's pretty much the same, but this was a much cheaper watch, obviously.
Hmm.
Right,
It was
yeah.
available with a bracelet as well. Those are usually a bit more expensive. The bracelet is not much to look at, really, but it was a nice watch.
I love the big day. It's great. Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, it's a nice looking watch, and it's tempting for that amount of money. You're taking, you're dipping your toes into Holy Trinity. And that's a good deal.
Yeah,
It
there
is,
was. I remember when I was still watching somebody's videos. That person got a question, like a paid
Hmm.
question review, whatever, and somebody in Australia was asking, should he buy one of these?
Hmm.
I think for something like 3,000 Australian dollars.
really.
And of course, he was told to stay away. These are
Right,
crap, and
because it's garbage. Right.
yeah.
Yes. Okay.
But that's what you.
And that's so funny, because this would be typical of what he would go for. Dog of the range, get it at a good price, and you're getting some, high horology. But whatever.
Yeah, to me, this was always a misunderstood watch because you can't even compare it to the new 56 because you
Mhm.
were getting the equivalent movement of, a much higher range of watch. Yeah, and it was, and most of them all have like the deployant or
Mhm.
they're really well equipped. So nice
Yeah,
watches.
just a shame it's a solid case back.
Yes, that is true. Yep. Mhm. Some of the older Mount series watches from that era had the Hunter case back
Hmm.
where you could see the movement, but those were really round watches. So, yeah.
No, but I definitely, and you had pointed this watch out a while ago, and I like them.
Yep.
They're
And look,
different.
yeah, I think these are watches that I wouldn't spend a crazy amount of money on, but I
Mhm.
think somebody looking for, again, right, the whole point of looking at these rectangular and square watches, what can you get if you really want one of these watches, you're into the Reverso or the Cartier watches.
Hmm.
This is a watch where if you're in US dollars, if you can get for 5,000-6,000 US dollars in great shape, I think that's
Yeah,
like
you
a really
jump at the
cool watch.
chance. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, very well laid out. Interesting. Looks like nothing else. That's
Mhm.
cool.
And the newer versions of this watch,
Hmm.
you can tell how old it is because the newer versions, the chronograph registers are
Hmm.
more tonneau shaped. They have like
Gotcha.
flat tops. They're less round. So
Hmm.
it's a
Interesting.
good thing. And then the next one that I had on the list is another Vachon, but this time the new Malt series.
Mm.
Um, they're very expensive watches, but you find them sometimes for great prices used. There were a few of those that were actually for like really, really good prices out of China on Chrono 24 at some point.
Hmm.
So it's actually a nice series. They're obviously not crazy affordable, but if you are looking for a tonneau watch and you want something different, mm, it's it's a possibility. So obviously the non-tourbillon versions are a little bit more on the affordable side. And the non-tourbillon versions, actually, if you look at the movement,
Mm-hmm.
it's the 4400. So the same that's in that historique like Bill Sanders has.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, that's a beautiful watch.
Yep. There was one. I think I've seen some of them used, but near mint condition
Mhm.
in the like 14,000-15,000
Okay.
US region. So
Okay. I think that's a smart looking watch.
yeah, that's more like an alternative to, let's say, a solid gold reverso.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Skeletonized version
Very busy.
with a tourbillon.
What do you call that? The Maltese cross? Is that what that is?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the next one on the list, once we're done with this one, is for I chose that one kind of for Geezer.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Vacheron is very overlooked. It's a shame.
Yeah, they are. I think there's they have entire lines, right, of watches that people don't even know exist. So this one is the Carivut-Leinen 27 27. So it's really similar to his classic 28. But it's a rectangular watch, and if you scroll down and look at the movement pictures and dial pictures, it's a very cool watch.
Thomas, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back here.
Okay,
Oh,
sorry.
cool.
Sorry, I kind of left you hanging there for a bit, I think.
No worries.
Yeah,
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, and if you look at the close-ups of the dial, it's it's got classic Voutilainen textured dial,
Mhm.
but in a square, rectangular version. So
Well, you did a good job, NS, because Geezer says nice.
yeah, it's one of those watches.
Can we see the back again? That movement?
Sure thing.
Yeah, the movement is has sort of like a utilitarian look to it, but with really nice beveling.
Very
Like
interesting.
it was kind of like cut just to make it fit in there in some way. Like,
Yeah, the edges do look a little bit rough, right? So,
Yeah, I was going to ask the same thing, Junior Johnson. That's rose gold.
that's a good question, actually.
Oh,
I'm not sure.
Is that the movement you're talking about?
Yeah, the movement.
It looks like it.
Could well be.
But that's how it is with Voutilainen, right? It's not always like perfect finish everywhere, but you are getting something that's really handmade.
Right. Which is what it's all about.
Yep.
this looks like something I would end up with at the end of the day.
Well, I mean, I would hope all of us end up with this.
Yeah.
If that's a possibility, I'm all for it.
He's such a nice man and so gracious and so humble. When I met him at Watch Time New York, now he's there at his booth and it's just him. There's nobody, no assistant, nobody else. It's just him and a couple of his watch. He usually brings about 3 or 4 watches.
Wow.
Yeah,
Is
it's
that
very
happening
cool.
this year?
I don't know. I think Bill said that they're advertising for it. So in what form it's going to be, I don't know. But
Yeah, I think that the one thing that the New York area has going for it is that show could happen without people that travel from outside, right? At least attendance. Watchmakers would have to travel in, obviously,
mhm.
but it's not like you're relying on a bunch of people attending that are coming in from far that might not want to travel this
Mm.
fall. So,
Yeah, I've said it before. If they do it again the way it was in the past, I encourage anybody who's interested in watches to attend. It's a great show.
yep. I almost did last year.
Yes, I know you and Neo. That
Yeah.
would have been.
Yeah.
That would have been one day. One day we'll all get together, fellas.
Mhm,
We'll
for
get
sure.
Geezer and Thomas to come from across the pond.
Yeah, it'd be wonderful.
Yep.
You get to meet Bill Sanders and Tim Masso was there, and a lot of
Yeah,
people.
it'd be great.
You
Mhm.
can walk
Absolutely
into
great.
and see
It'd really.
So the next one that I had on the list is interesting because there's a lot of women in watches, right?
Mhm.
A lot of people think it's a very male dominated
Mm.
space, but you
Oh,
have
absolutely, yeah.
you have
Well, the-
Catherine Régnier at
JLC, right?
JLC. You have Christine Hutter at Moritz Grossman.
Right. She's
Um,
very nice too. I met her. Very,
mhm.
very nice.
Yep. You have the co-CEO of Chopin, right?
Mhm.
Caroline, I forget her last name. And you have some watchmakers, right? Like Martina Eggy that was showcased at Moser. She's one of their perpetual calendar specialists.
Maria
And
Harbring.
yeah. And this is Eva Lube. I hope I'm pronouncing it well, but she's actually of German descent, but lives in Australia,
Mm-hmm.
and she is an independent watchmaker. And yeah, I had actually read about this watch a few years back,
Mm-hmm.
and recently on the Hierology group, somebody actually posted pictures because they had taken delivery of one
Really?
of these. Yep.
Wow.
So they showed
Wow.
a bunch of pictures and like wrist shots and stuff, and it's a really, really beautiful watch, and
Mm.
it's curved, and as you can see, the gear train is
Mhm.
curved.
Yeah.
So
That's
it's
amazing. Very interesting.
really cool watch by again, right, female watchmaker. And if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see a profile picture where you really see the curve.
Wow. That
Yes,
looks
it's
stunning.
not just like the
Wow. Look at that.
yeah, it's not just like the sapphire that's curved to give it a curved look. It's really, really curved. So it's a really cool watch.
So that's literally going to be hugging your wrist.
Yep.
Reminds me of the
yeah.
Cartier tungsten tree, the really stretched out sort of.
Yep. And these types of shaped watches are usually what you'll see in sort of the quartz kind, right? So it won't be mechanical, but this is a nice mechanical example. It's not cheap. This is an old article that we're seeing right now on the screens from 2011. I don't know what the prices are today, but back then it was 76,000 euros in yellow gold, 78 in rose gold,
Wow.
and 93. Sorry, it was 78 in white gold and 93 in platinum. So not cheap,
No.
but very interesting watch.
Very.
Yeah.
I've never seen that before.
No. And Belova makes a big deal about their curved chronograph. And,
Yeah, this is
yeah.
quite a few steps. And it's interesting because the next watch that we have on the list is the watch that Geezer suggested, and it's a watchmaker that has a similar aesthetic to his
Hmm.
watches. That's a Viennese Halter, and that's the Trio Grand Date.
Wow.
Oh,
Different.
Wow. It's like
Different.
something from a submarine.
Yeah, or like a
isn't it?
punch clock in a factory.
Yeah.
But I'll queue up the Viennese Halter website after this because I think we can. He has other like interestingly shaped watches. But you have to understand that this is one of like one of the original premier independents. He was in THA, right, with Jaune and the guy from Debetun, that movement maker. So this is serious independent watchmaking.
Wow.
Wow.
Never seen this. This is an
No.
amazing suggestion, Geezer.
Good call, Geezer.
mm-hmm.
Hey, 73 MAF. How are you, pal?
Hey, man.
Hey,
Hi, how you doing, guys?
Are you gonna show the Konstantin Schenken cinema watch?
Could do that.
we
Yeah.
can.
Because this one kind of reminds me of the cinema watch.
To get the link for it here. I'm going to put it on the private chat. Yeah, and there we see the Outlance. We looked at that. I think, guys, when we talked about independence, right? These are the crazy, insane, expensive ones where the hour is actually like on a track, and the whole gear train is the tourbillon that turns around. And this is the new Mars Conqueror.
Wow.
Martian Time. Konstantin Chaikin. So.
That is funky.
Yep. It's the cheaper version, and I say cheaper, and we see it's a 17,000 pound watch.
Right.
But it's the cheaper version of his Martian time watch prototype that he came out with last year or the year before that.
That's an interesting thing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I posted a link for the cinema watch if you want, Flippin'.
I think I got it. Yeah.
Yeah, the movement on this one is actually very nice. It's funny, he makes really cool things, but the prices are very high. So I think it's he obviously has some very popular models, but it's still kind of a very high end, out of reach brand for many.
Yeah.
And that horse. That was the first thing ever recorded on film, right? The horse, the guy riding the horse.
It might be. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But that moves. There's a disc where that horse is animated.
Yeah.
Yeah, he likes to have these kind of interesting, funny complications.
Yeah, quirky little pieces, aren't they?
Hmm.
And a lot of them have these double crowns, don't they, for adjusting two things. I noticed that the Joker has two crowns, one for adjusting each eye.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, just a reminder, guys. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up before you leave.
And if
Appreciate
anyone
it.
wants to
Yeah,
jump on,
absolutely, guys.
Appreciate that.
Please.
jump on. Please jump on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody, please come and join us.
And Geezer has another great suggestion that I will queue up.
Cool.
So the next one we had on the list now that's getting a little bit weird, sorry,
No worries, man.
was Thomas, the Jaune Vagabondage 3. I'm going to try to find a link for it, maybe, although you could just Google it. I think one of the first results will be the actual Jaune site. But I'll post it in the chat anyway.
This is the quartz, Jorn.
No, this is one of Francois Paul Jean's releases from 2017. It's 69 made in platinum and 68 in red gold
Oh wow.
hours, with a typically styled Jean mini hand and power reserve on the back. It's got a remontoire.
Oh wow.
Quite confusing looking dial, but being totally open, it's incredibly satisfying once to look at when the wheels turn to play the different models.
Yeah.
So the wheels turn per second at 6 o'clock, and at 9 o'clock you've got your hour, and then you've got
nice.
a mini hand that sweeps round. It's fascinating to look at.
Mhm.
Cool.
I think this was recommended by Geezer and Chip Gage last week.
Okay. Yeah, it's a really nice watch. The movement in the back looks a lot like the Chronomètre Souverain movement, right? With the sort of invisible gear train type of thing. But what's really cool is that it's shaped right to the case. So it's not like one of those shortcut watches where they just put in a circular movement. And I think on the face you have a really cool complication.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
So you're looking at 54,000 Swiss francs for the red gold, or 56,000 Swiss francs for the platinum. Well, that was on retail. I don't know what they're going for now. Yeah, interesting looking complication with the one hand, just the 1 minute hand.
Yeah. Very interesting. Good suggestion, Geezer and Chip Gage. Good call.
Yep.
Interesting
nice.
watch.
I am not going to try to pronounce the name.
Bondage.
Yeah, vagabondage. We have another suggestion from Geezer,
Okay.
and that is the Masahiro Kikuno Wadoke. Again, that's not going to be pronounced well, but whatever. Best I can do.
You're pronouncing it better than anyone the rest of us can do. So no worries.
And it's not it's this link. It's another very interesting watch.
Interesting.
Wow.
It's
One of my favorite videos is this guy.
That watch is amazing.
Yep.
There's a movie documentary on YouTube around this guy making that watch. It's totally worth watching.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Looks like it's really orientated around the marine chronometer, doesn't it?
It's a seasonal clock. So
really?
Yep. So it follows. It's an actual clock in Japan that had this that this is based on.
The
Yeah,
part
I,
where
s- I
he
s- I see
scraps
it's
with one hand that he doesn't heat, like where he overheats it, he just scraps it, like he just tosses it like it's nothing. Like, oh my god.
mm,
Yeah.
yeah, it's based on the sunrise and sunset,
Hmm.
right? And the notion that you split the time between sunrise and sunset, so you have kind of like variable hours.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very interesting watch. And that's my kind of watch.
right.
I've said it before. I really like watches that have a story behind them. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a really cool one. Very good suggestion,
Yeah.
Geezer.
Agreed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Does anybody know how much this cost for him to make one?
No clue.
No, but I'm gonna guess it's
Probably like no idea.
well, it's like Ajima Asahoka, right? You look at his watches and they're like, oh, okay, it's like a nice kind of simple watch, and then it's like,
Mhm.
oh, okay, 50, 60, $70,000.
Right.
Yeah.
McGee is saying he thinks around $200,000.
Yeah, this one's
Yeah,
over
wow.
100. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
I thought that maybe if I joined the Yakuza, I could probably earn the money to go buy this watch.
Yeah.
You're
You
gonna go get.
You have to
You
get
get-
leather tattoos first, I think, Neo.
You're gonna go big gangster on us, Neo.
Look, it's for the watch. It's for the watch.
Yeah, I think you have to spend about that much on your tattooing your held back first.
Hey, crime pays though, so he's not taking any. Like, is he just done? As of 2019, not accepting no orders. So maybe he's done. Maybe he's busy.
My guess is he's busy, right? I think a lot of these independent watchmakers, you get to a point where, you know, if you get it's like the Grande Sonnerie from Jaune, right? At some point, they sort of closed the orders because they wanted to get to their astronomic watch, and with like 3 watchmakers, I think they were making like 3 a year or 2.5 a year. So it's the kind of thing where if you get 5 orders, you sort of have to close orders for the next like 12 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's as Geezer's saying, definitely watch the video.
Yeah, I'm going to as soon as we're done.
Worth it.
Yeah. And the next one that I had queued up is actually it's a watch that you can find older versions for semi-affordable prices. The new ones are very expensive, but it's a watch with a long history, and I think it's one of going to be weird because it's a quorum, but I find it to be one of the watches with the nicest looking movements that you can get out there. If you're a fan of older desk clocks, mechanical desk clocks, JLC had a very famous model that looked just like that. So it's a super minimalist movement where you have the barrel at the bottom and then the powertrain up to your escapement at the top. So super simple movement. And the very old ones look almost exactly the same, except they're more rectangular and obviously smaller in size. But yeah, that's it. It's simple. You just see a very simple movement, vertical. They have a version that's horizontal as well. And really simple watch, really cool. And a shot in the dark is actually, I think is he in?
Was earlier. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing. Oh, hi, Shot in the Dark.
Hey,
Hello.
what's up, man? How are you?
Oh no, I'm doing pretty good.
Good.
Good to see you.
Thanks for joining us.
I'm very welcome to be here. Thanks for the invite.
No problem. Everybody's welcome.
Yeah. Do you guys ever look at desk clocks and all that sort of thing? Is that part of your collections?
I don't have any in my collection, but I do. I do want some sort of older, like JLCL said, the old Memovox desk clocks,
Mm-hmm.
like those little travel clocks. If I was able to afford it, I wouldn't mind having one of those MBNF sculpture clocks.
Yeah.
That are
What
really
about an
cool.
Atmos clock?
Yeah, that too. The only thing about the Atmos clocks that you keep hearing all the time is,
Yeah, they're finicky.
well, the ones that have, look, I don't think they're finicky. I think the problem is, and a lot of people that say they're finicky, it's because they've bought some that are 40 years old that have never
Gotcha.
been serviced.
Right.
So I think the Atmos is really nice, but it's one that you can't really cheap out on.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not about to spend like $6,000-7,000 on a
On a
desk
clock? Yeah, I
right
gotcha.
now.
Yeah, I remember
They are
seeing
cool,
these I remember seeing these Corums bridges on the posters outside the ADs, and they fascinated me because I
Yeah.
couldn't believe that they had so little, had so few parts inside them.
Yeah.
And,
Very cool.
Yeah.
That's a nice looking watch.
Mhm. Yep. And like I said, go on something like Chrono 24 and check out the old bridge watches. You can get some for pretty low prices. They're a little bit smaller, but they look pretty much the same.
Mm-hmm.
So, Shot in the Dark, do you have any square watches?
I don't have any expensive watches right now.
Really?
No. I'm shopping, biding my time, and I had, like I've iterated before, my mother got cancer a year or two back, and I've just never recovered quite. So
Oh,
I was
sorry about that.
really looking forward to that Batman, and family came first. So
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man.
mhm.
so that's where the watch fund has been going.
I hear you.
Right.
I hear you.
Right. Got you.
So
You'll get there. You'll get there, man.
Yeah.
But I did inherit some clocks from my grandmother. I don't know the names of them or anything like
Oh,
that.
nice.
Antique clocks, wind-up clocks.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them is actually it tells you the day, time, and date
Nice.
in a wall clock.
Mm-hmm.
Lovely.
Very interesting.
And that dates from, I think, the 20s,
Nice.
maybe a little earlier.
And that's still running, is it? That's still running now. Is it working well?
No, it hasn't run in years.
Oh, you're gonna get that? Try and get that fixed?
Well, they ran many years ago, so they're not damaged. They just haven't been operative.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Sure.
I've got the keys and everything else for several of the clocks,
Mm-hmm.
so that's not a problem. That's really where you run into trouble is the keys.
Right. You lose the keys and you're screwed.
Yeah, you've had it. You can't help it. It's like an old china cabinet. They all had proprietary keys, and if you lose your key, well, guess what?
Right.
You're back to square one again.
Right.
Um,
I'm gonna be right back, guys.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, sure, blue shirt.
I guess for the more complicated ones, like the ones with, like the one you have with the date, it's probably a good idea to maybe get it looked at before you start winding it
definitely.
again. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, like, what do people do? Is it really kind of like lock picking in order to figure out how to get things going? I'm not exactly sure how this would work.
No, by what I can tell, is that most any watchmaker can work on most any clock because it pretty much has the same kind of innards to it. But the problem, as I say, goes into having the right keys because not every key fits every clock. And, it's just like your watch, except it doesn't have a stationary crank on it
Mm.
when you think of it from that perspective. And so a lot of them got lost in moving, but my grandmother collected antiques, and she was always very particular about keeping up with her keys. So thank goodness they're with the clocks.
Mm.
So there's no worry there. I don't have any plans on winding them up anytime soon because a lot of them have chimes.
Oh, okay.
I've got one here that has Westminster chime, and it echoes throughout the house. 24 hours a day.
Does it wake you up at night then?
It will keep you awake at night.
Oh no.
You could have it on the far end of the house, and you can hear it go bong. Like, oh,
Yeah, maybe that's why a lot of keys went missing, right? Somebody just went and threw it into the lake or something.
yeah, angry husband.
Yeah.
Us kids slept in that room at my grandparents' house where they kept their chime clock.
Yeah.
You don't sleep well there.
So you had before all of this, I'm sorry, what did you say you had your eyes on? Batman or
The Batman, yes.
Batman? Well,
I've been pretty lucky. I've been able to go to the two Rolex 80s near me, and I've seen
Oh, wow.
pretty well everything. I even got to see the what was that Daytona that had the, I may be wrong in the color, maybe kind of a brownish color. I think it was a special edition some kind of way.
could it be like the platinum?
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, the platinum bezel. Sorry, the platinum case. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, there's
That was
yeah.
that was neat. Just I saw a Pepsi.
So you have a
all-
well-stocked AD then, right by you.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that. I'm just kind of irregular in and out, and I kind of just hit the luck.
Yeah, good stuff.
And there's another one that's about 60 mile away from me, and I'll drop in there when I'm up there, and I've seen several watches up there. So, it really makes no difference which way I go. I'm about an hour drive away from either one of them. So,
Cool. Yeah, my AD just reopened.
the only thing is, if you want to see Tudor, I'm about 136 miles away from that one.
Wow.
Really?
And if-
Wow.
And if I want to go see Omega, I'm 136 miles from that one. So,
Oh dear.
so you kind of have to arrange your day.
Yep. It's,
Sure. Where are you shot?
I'm in what's called the Mid South. I'm in the Mississippi River Delta.
Gotcha.
Right. Right. Wow.
I was going to ask you guys,
There we go.
that's the one.
That's the one.
Nice
It's a long way to
Daytona.
travel to do the bit of watch browsing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not necessarily convenient.
Yeah, I have to say I'm pretty spoiled where I am. I got 4 ADs within
On your
I don't know.
doorstep.
a half an hour of me, and then 45 minutes I'm in Manhattan, and there's anything you can imagine there. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty lucky.
Geezer is saying that the ADs in the UK are opening up tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
they,
they should be, hopefully.
so they've reopened where you are, Blue Shirt. Have you had a chance to drop by and see?
I haven't yet. I just got the email from my AD yesterday, and they said that they're opening, but it's only appointment only right now, and they're going to
Okay.
limit to 3 people in the store at any one time.
I'd be interested to see what the stock levels are like.
Yeah,
Because,
I'm curious too. I think I'm
yeah.
going to make an appointment and just to go and look.
Yeah, because everybody was saying that stuff was kind of piling up, at least in the US, before the sort of stay-at-home situation, and
Yes.
it seems like from what people have been saying online, a lot of people are getting a lot of calls.
Yeah, people getting Pepsis and Daytonas and Sea Dwellers and Sky
Yeah.
Dwellers, and looks like there's a lot of stuff coming out.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's a
so
great.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to
Yeah.
say, the ADs may well be sold out of stuff before you get there.
Yeah, could be. Chip Gauge, I'm on Long Island, so I'm right outside the city.
I think it's a great indicator of the real sort of situation, right? Because production has been halted and there's still quite a bit of stock. I think stuff from the safes are making
Yeah,
it to
magically
the shelves.
appearing. Yeah.
Yep.
It'd be
That happened
interesting.
though last year. That happened last year, right before Basel. I think it happens every year, right before Basel lately, where the stocks come in. You know, that's when I got my Batman, was 2 weeks before Basel last year.
Mhm.
So and I think this is just like a delay from that effect.
Yep.
I'll be interesting to see with my AD, because before everything shut down, they had a Sea Dweller 43 there for at least 2 months. And I was shocked
Right,
that it's
really?
every time I went there, it was there. I'm curious to see if it's still there.
Paul Thorpe made a video saying he kind of figures that there's going to be a lot of people. How did he word it? That they're trying to sell stuff that they don't have in stock, essentially saying, yeah, put your name on the list, come pay for it, all that, and then that they might get the shaft, which
Yeah.
that sounds a little too shady to me.
Well,
Yeah.
Well,
see, like,
the safes will be full, won't they? I mean, the safes will have stock in, but they won't have had new deliveries, will they? Well, the lockdown period. So
right.
I don't know whether what the situation will be, to be honest.
Yeah, and plus, like around by me, there are no lists. None of the 4 ADs that are near me, none of them have lists. It's just how good a customer you are.
Look, I really think that I think we all know, right? A lot of these watches were in safes too.
Yep.
And these
I
dealers
know.
haven't, they haven't been selling stuff for 2-3 months. They have to start moving stuff.
Right.
So,
Well, I know this from my own experience, that I went into one of the dealers and they didn't have anything out in the case hardly at all. But I asked them about a Submariner, and they said, "Wait a minute," and they brought it out of the safe.
Right. Let me tell you, Shot, that the same thing happened to me when I got my Explorer 2. I went to my AD, and I went to go look at a used one that they had advertised, and it was there in the case. And I'm looking at it, and the saleswoman's like, "Oh, if you like this, we have one in the safe that someone had ordered and then changed their mind about," and that's how I got mine.
This one was still in the coffin,
Yeah.
and it was not spoken for.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
I mean, nobody had particularly ordered it. It was something that they got in on shipment,
Mm-hmm.
and I kind of got the impression that they weren't putting it out there for the people that were coming in and Oh shoot, what's the word I'm looking for?
Window
people that-
trying
the people-
it on. with No,
No, the
intent.
people that were buy up the concert tickets and scalpers.
Oh, scalper. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Orange Hand has a great point, and I totally agree with them. You know, if ADs start selling stuff that they don't have and start taking like not deposits but full payments, their dealership is probably in peril. Look, I think you have people on YouTube out there with, you know, saying all kinds of things.
Getting the clicks.
Yeah,
No, that's against business practice in the U.S. That's fraud.
Mhm.
Yeah, there you go. That's
And look, I know I've criticized Rolex buyers in the past that go on their hands and knees and beg to be allowed to spend $10,000. But you know, if you go to a dealer and actually pay something that doesn't exist, and you have that kind of money, it's, you know, it's a questionable decision on
Right.
the buyer's part.
Yeah.
Well,
deserving of
well, I'm going to go back to U.S. business practice. That's considered false advertising, and that gets you in trouble with the federal government. So,
Yeah, and you know, I think there's many countries that have even stricter consumer protection laws. So
you know,
I don't get it. You know,
I'm not saying that they're not going to try it, but you know that falls under, as I said. So, and my family was in business for 50 years, so we understood that quite well.
Right.
yeah, it's the same thing as the stories you hear about the AD not giving you your warranty card, right? That
Right.
might be
Yeah.
legal in certain countries, but
Yeah.
in-
Not here, that's for sure.
yeah, in the US probably not. In Canada, I know for sure that, you know, that would definitely not be legal. So
Yeah, it's amazing how you guys in the UK get screwed over with that playing games like that and the prices
But-
that you
I
get that you have to
know,
pay
yeah.
for.
yeah, but again, right? Is it are these things like things that are even legal and they can actually do? I think in many cases, it's people are letting their AD do it to them.
Yeah,
without-
I don't know, it's a grey area. I don't know whether the ADs are just trying it on or whether it is legal or it's. I don't know, to be honest with you.
But even, you guys pay more for watches than
We do, yeah. We play
pretty-
VAT.
pretty grand- anywhere else.
18%. Yeah, you're talking.
Yeah.
On
Well,
top of
look,
the price.
yeah, prices for your country, that's something else, right? That's it's Rolex themselves and the distributor and everybody setting the prices. And that's kind of understandable. Everybody has different import taxes and
Right.
but you know, not like selling you something and not allowing you to resell it or something like that. Look, I mean, it's Rolex, right? We're not talking about John Deere with tractors and
Right.
billions of dollars in lobbying here. We're talking about, I know Rolex is big, but it's, you know,
Yeah,
it's a watch company. They don't have like 25 lobbyists
exactly.
in Washington right now. Like, you know,
Yeah,
it is
but
what it is.
as Williams Watches points out, everything costs more in the UK.
Yeah, that's what I
So-
was saying, man. I feel bad for all you guys over there because it's you guys get screwed both ways. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
it's
know.
weird. That's how it was actually in Canada a long time ago. And
Really?
yeah, what happened with Canada is that at some point when our dollar, you know, there was this brief period like 10 years ago or 12 years ago when our dollar became at par with
Yeah.
the US dollar.
Yeah, I remember.
And when that happened, it caused tons of consumer frustration for everything, right? Because we had always been paying, you know, you'd go out and you'd buy an American car, like let's say a Ford, and something that cost $20,000 in the US would cost 25, 26,000 in Canada. But when our dollar was lower, you get it, right? Your purchasing power is lower. But then the dollar was at par and everything was so much higher in price, and people started getting really, really unhappy. And that's sort of like created like a mini little consumer revolution. And now it's funny because people because all the brands lowered their prices in Canada, the dollar fell, and most companies just can't raise their prices at the same pace that the dollar fell. So now we're in a situation where like a Rolex is cheaper in Canada than in the US because of the difference in the dollar.
Right.
Although we do have a lot of sales taxes as well, so that doesn't help.
Yeah, just just never. I don't know why you folks in the UK are penalized like that. It's weird. I feel
we
bad
don't
for you
know.
guys.
We don't know any different though. A lot of the time, we're just used to it.
Hey Thomas, when your AD opens up, man, you gotta get yourself down and try on that P01.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but apparently I learned yesterday that the prices have gone up. Apparently.
Oh,
So,
no.
we've had a price hike on the P01, so that's unfortunate. But
Do you know by how
I
much?
will be trying it on. I don't know how much. I wouldn't have thought. I would have thought probably a couple of £100. Probably, yeah. Because last time I looked, I think it was £2,800. So it's probably gone over the 3,000 mark now.
That's a shame. Sorry, Thomas.
I would imagine it's going to be a future collectible, to be honest with you.
I think so.
It's
I think
a
so.
quirky little piece which isn't that popular. So yeah, I like it a lot, to be honest.
I know you do. I know you do. That's what I'm saying, man. Should get down there and try that on.
Yeah, definitely. Wait for shops to open tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Guys, we've hit the
Hit the magic hour.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, thanks to Shot in the Dark for joining us. It was really great to hear from you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Shot in the Dark.
And thank you for everybody in the chat. Orange Hand, Geezer, Wind Watch, 73, MAF, Junior Johnson, Wisconsin Watch Guy, Megan, who else was on? Everybody else, Chip Gage.
Yeah, absolutely.
Orange Hand, the whole crew.
Producer, the guy pretending to be producer Michael.
Yes.
Highlight of the show right there.
Yeah, everybody, Angie, thanks for watching, thanks for participating, and
we'll see you next week.
Thanks for lovely time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Give us a thumbs up, guys. Like Blue Shirt said.
Yep. Bye,
That'd be
guys.
a great
Take
one.
care.
And spread the word. Tell your friends about the channel now.
Exactly. Have a good week, guys. Take it easy.
Stay safe, everybody.
Take it easy, guys.
Neo,
Take care.
and
See you next week.
Flippin', take care, buddy.
Thanks, man. You too.
Have a great rest of your weekend.
Thanks. Have a great one.
Thank
See
you.
you, Neo.